And this one is also my own personal pick of the week. And one of the big reasons for that is just how cute this game is, because players are going to be putting little cute birds out in different regions on the board. But more importantly than that, this is a mean game, and I am not a fan of a lot of mean games because it's not that the game's mean that makes those games less desirable for me. It's just that a lot of mean take that games tend to just have a lot of chaos in them, and it makes it feel like there's not a lot of strategy. But when a mean game is done right, not only do you have a fantastic game that you can play, but it's also a game that's ripe for trash talking all your best friends. This is why games like Cosmic Encounter or Lords of Vegas are such fantastic games and are pretty much universally loved even by a lot of those gamers that typically don't like take that or meanness in their games. And it's also the reason why they're both in my collection and never ever leaving. But like I said, this one is an area control game, and in this game, players are going to be placing their own birds into various locations out on the table, with each of those locations giving you a special ability if you're the one to be able to hold majority there. But the thing that makes this really, really interesting is that you're not always placing your own birds because you're actually going to be drawing birds from a bag. And of course, if you're pulling out another player's bird, you're probably going to want to put them in a position that's less favorable to them. And I just think that this is such a great mechanism for this game because pulling the birds out of the bag means that players won't just be able to gang up on one single player. Instead, you're going to have limited control over the players that you're able to influence, but depending on which player's bird you pull, you will get to choose how you want to treat them. This is going to do a great job of balancing out the game and just making sure that each player is picked on relatively the same amount, while still giving good decisions to the active player no matter whose character's bird they pull out of the bag. And another mechanism that just works hand in hand with this is that all the ties in this game are completely unfriendly. This means that if multiple players have the same amount of units at one of the locations, then they're both going to be losing out on any of the benefits that they otherwise would have got. This might not sound great at first, but when you consider that each player can draw other players' birds, this means that you'll have opportunities to try and create ties between your opponents by giving them control in certain areas in order to tie with someone else, losing out on all those bonuses, even if they are both tied in first. And I just think that sounds hilarious and is a really clever way to send your friends home crying at the end of the night. But this game has even more fun things to offer because in addition to all the players' characters and their individual birds, there's also going to be a bunch of different creatures that are going to be able to move around to the different locations, and the players will be able to influence these creatures in different ways depending on the abilities that they have access to. But each of these creatures will have different effects on the locations that they enter. These creatures could be different things like owls, cats, or even a scarecrow, and each of these will be coming with an associated miniature during the campaign. And I'm sure there will be a lot more added throughout the campaign and as well through the stretch goals. So if you do want to check them out, make sure to check out the campaign in the description below. But players will also be able to gain additional victory points by completing endgame objectives, which does give a little bit more affordance to the individual players. And if you do like a good mean game like I do and you're interested in this one, you can find it linked in the description below. And of course, you can click to get notified.